Hello and welcome to another episode of Leaders of Transformation. Today we have a treat. We have the founder and CEO of Mindvalley University with us, Vishen Lakhiani. Vishen, we're excited to have you here today. Welcome, Leaders of Transformation.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. We're really excited to have Vishen here because Vishen has, for the few of you that may not be aware of Mindvalley, it is a global company with over 2 million students. They are a school for humanity that delivers transformational education for all ages. They currently have a team of over 300 people in 58 nations and growing. Vishen's also the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, which has been translated into more than 20 languages. So, as I said, I'm really excited to have him here today. We're really excited to have you here, the listeners, the viewers, because you know what? You're the reason why we do this show. I love having conversations with amazing people who are making an impact in the world, but I also love sharing it with you so that you can be inspired to be the difference maker that you're capable of being. I do believe that Vishen's going to share some valuable nuggets here today and inspiration about what he's doing that will inspire you to do the same in your life and to apply these principles in your life. So with that in mind, let's just dive right in, Vishen, and talk about, you're very passionate about education. What is wrong with the education system as it stands right now?
The problem with the education system is that it served us incredibly well for our generation, my generation, your generation, that come around the year 1999 to 2000. The world went through a dramatic shift, right? In the next 19 years, between 2000 and 2019, we've seen more change in the world than the entire 20th century, the entire 100-year period between 1900 and 2000. I mean, think about it. YouTube, Facebook, Skype, all of these things that made us a more connected species emerged just in the last 19 years. And this changes a human being's place in the world. For example, with a smartphone, we essentially are now cyborgs with backup brains. We don't think of ourselves as cyborgs because we hold our smartphone in our hand, but the average person who uses social media spends 2 hours a day on a smartphone, and that's just on social media. Probably another hour a day on work, on news, and so on, and that's 3 hours a day. We are tapped into a global brain. Now, when you're tapped into a global brain, so much of what they teach in school becomes ludicrously unnecessary. Sugitra Mitra, who won the TED Prize for Education, I saw him speak not far from where I'm parked right now, right here in Kuala Lumpur. Brilliant thinker. And he said, if we have to redesign schools, let's take into account the smartphone. There are lots of things we teach in schools that we don't need to teach. For example, why bother teaching a kid spelling? Why bother teaching a kid advanced math when all of that can be done by our backup brain? So if we remove all of this stuff that is no longer necessary, I remember one semester in high school where we had to memorize and study maps of Africa and learn about the history of Kenya. And all of that was amazing, great exposure. But why did I have to copy down these notes by hand when today I can pull up anything I want on Kenya or Africa on my smartphone? I can talk to friends in Kenya through Skype. The world has changed. School didn't prepare us for this world. Now, the biggest issue, though, is that school still teaches learning when what human beings need is transformation. Now, let me tell you the difference. Learning is when you teach a kid biology. Transformation is when you teach someone how to actually take care and nourish and heal their body as they grow older. Learning is when you teach a kid psychology. Transformation is when you actually teach someone to create win-win conscious relationships with the people around them, or to teach them empathy, or to teach them compassion. And so you can see learning is often designed for one thing only: job and career advancement. But human beings are so much more than that. So in the Mindvalley model, which is derived from Lifebook, which is one of our best-selling programs, we look at 12 different dimensions of the human being. Not just your career and your finance, but your emotional states, your relationships, your parenting ability, your character, your life vision. We look at 12 different categories, and transformation means upgrading your worldview in these categories. Transformation is an expansion of one's world view. And a mind once expanded can never again shrink to its original size. Learning, on the other hand, is jamming your brain with facts and figures. And science says that even if you read a book, 80% of it you're going to lose within 24 hours. Learning is highly inefficient in an age where we can pull up the facts we want on a cell phone. And learning is highly unnecessary, I shouldn't say unnecessary, but suboptimal in an age where the world is so complex. Facebook algorithms and ill-willed nationalist politicians can manipulate us easily through news, through social media. We need transformation as a beacon, as a guiding light. You can learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, and still cast a vote for a bullshit politician who taps into the amygdala to make you fear Mexicans or Muslims or whatever is the fear-based skin color that's in vogue. But when you are truly transformed, you see the world in a different way. For example, one of the classic elements of transformation is the expansion of one's compassion to embrace not just your ethnic group or your nation, but all people of the world. When you expand someone's compassion to this level, we create a more unified, a more compassionate, a kinder, gentler world where we can truly tackle some of our existential problems, such as global warming. So you see, transformation is not just making happier individuals. It can help us save our species itself.
That is so powerful the way you describe the distinction, and there's so much learning. And it's funny because Mindvalley University, if I didn't know anything about it, I think, there's another seminar company, another company that's going to to teach more to me. But what you're talking about is a whole other way of looking at things, which I really, really love. Now, can you talk about how you apply that at Mindvalley? Because I know you do have training programs there, but so what makes your program so different?
Well, firstly, it's not our programs. Mindvalley is a platform and it's a community. And we are probably I think we're probably, if not already, the biggest transformational community and platform in the planet, based on multiple authors. So I'm sure you will find certain Indian gurus who, because they're based in India, have like 100 million followers, right? But what makes us unique is that in Mindvalley, there is no dogma. We constantly update the curriculum, and we work with 200 different teachers across the entire globe every single year. So, just content that we're getting out. Yesterday, I was interviewing Japan's foremost writer on the Japanese view of money and abundance. A few days before, I was talking to a Czech philanthropist supermodel, Helena Hudova, on sexuality and consciousness. What's going on here is that we are saying that there is no one path to transformation. Transformation, rather, is being able to explore a multitude of different human ideas from different cultures, from people of different ages and genders and ethnicities and religions, and bringing these together. And so the Mindvalley platform looks like this. You can go and you can listen to our podcast for free, or you can go to Mindvalley Talks. It's a YouTube channel, and we have hundreds of talks. These are like TED Talks, really high quality, but unlike TED Talks, they are focused on directly applicable ideas in your life. For example, how to have a conscious divorce if you're going through that, how to raise healthy children, how to optimize your nutrition so you organically lose weight. Okay, so that's the first, that's the free level. And we have 6 million people taking our free programs on Facebook, on Instagram. People who want to follow me, I'm kind of the guide, and I serve to point people in the right direction. And my Instagram is @Vishen. So it's easy to find, Vishen. But the next level is called Mindvalley Mentoring. And Mindvalley Mentoring is where, for a very low fee, $99, we give people mentors. So you join a community, and what happens is I go out there and I seek the best minds in the world, and we film these beautiful episodes, an hour to 19 minutes on a deep topic. So you might learn how to become a better parent. You might learn how to optimize your brain so you can speed read and retain information better. You might learn a new spiritual energy technique. It's a wide array. That's level 1. Level 2 is when people go on 30-day journeys using our transformational program, Quest. And this is where I'm really proud of what we have done. We've built the world's most advanced learning platform. So we bring in all of these extraordinary teachers, from Neil Donald Walsh to Robin Sharma to famous MBA professors like Sri Kumar Rao to we're bringing on Shafali Sabari, who was just on Oprah for the 7th time on parenting. And on these 30-day journeys, people join as a group and they go through a series of behavioral training, 20 minutes a day. And at the end of 30 days, we have transformed some element of their being. We have the world's most efficient muscle building program on this platform. We have the world's best spiritual awakening programs. We have the world's best weight loss programs, because it's all rooted in great technology, great teachers, and behavioral modification. And then finally, the third level, which is one I'm personally excited about, is Mindvalley University. And this is where we are actually creating real-world events for children, teenagers, and adults, and they come together and we hack planet Earth to create a new system of education. So one of the projects, for example, is this July, we have 1,000 people moving to a little city in Croatia. We're turning that city into a campus. We have many of the world's greatest teachers coming down, incredible parties, social networking opportunities, adventure trips. And these 1,000 people who are moms and dads, who are entrepreneurs, who are millennials, who are 6-year-olds, who are teenagers, come down and study together. It's a form of transgenerational learning. And so with these 4 levels, there's the free level, the mentoring level, the quest level, and the university level. We're building an engine for global transformation. And now what's happening is the quality of the programs are getting so good that I was just asked to train at Google. This past week, I just trained the Malaysian government. And now we are going into countries and upgrading the schooling system of countries. My next mission is, within 10 years, I will be able to look at any nation on the earth and give them the best schooling system in 1 generation at a cost 1/50th what the government is currently spending.
Wow. Yeah, that's mind-blowing what you've already done and what you're able to do as a result of what you've created. Now, when you talk about transforming that educational system, I mean, obviously there are certain things that kids need to learn, but how long do you think it would take to really bring somebody up to speed? I mean, in the US and Canada, we go to school for, certain number of years, and it's a good chunk, right? I mean, we're like 4, 5, 6 years old, and we get out at 17 or 18, depending on, where you are and how much education you get. And then, of course, you go to university and all this stuff. So how long do you think it would take with your hacking model to have a child be able to learn what they need to learn? Maybe it's a certain amount of hours a day. I know that homeschooling is doing it and condensing it. Before they can be out there, I mean, I see this generation, like when I started my business at 16 years old, having a business at 16, being in high school was an anomaly, right? But nowadays you see these kids that are younger and younger, creating massive, transformation in the world already at young ages. They just think so fast. And so they don't need all the time. So talk about how long it would take and what that would actually look like. Like in an ideal world, if we were able to implement this, what would it look like?
So let's talk about the ideal world, okay? So let me paint a vision for where the future of humanity is going. Firstly, the big problem with the way now, are you ready for me to go on for 20 minutes? Because I'm going to lay out an entire master plan for the human race.
Love it.
Okay, so in an ideal world, this is what it would look like. Firstly, governments make a mistake. We educate our children at the age of 4 onwards in kindergarten. And in some nations like the United Nations, like the USA, that is even all right. There is you can't get like universal pre-K for children. And that's insane, because the most formative years of a child's life are really the years before they turn 6. That's when the brain has its highest level of plasticity. So I was once visiting an institute in Philadelphia that worked with brain damaged kids, and they found that brain damaged babies with the right training, even if they had lost half their brain, could be turned into kids who had the same learning capacity as an ordinary kid with the right approach before the ages of 6. Now, his
Wow.
approach, it was solidified into something called the Glenn Doman method. You can buy these books online, but I went to see what was going on. And what I learned there, what I saw there was mind-blowing. I saw 5-year-olds walking around with books like Shogun. These are adult books that most adults won't be able to read. I saw 4-year-olds who were human calculators. I met 6-year-olds who could run 10 kilometers. And what was going on there is a method called early infant education. So they would teach moms and dads to train and develop the brains of these children to make them, in every sense of the word, superhuman. Now, it does take some time. A mom and dad has to be prepared to spend an hour a day with their child. But by the time the child is 6 years old, even a bad school cannot take away the love of learning. Children are born with that love of learning, right? But when you teach a kid to be able to absorb information faster, to be able to do math in their head at rapid speeds, to read advanced books, the kids can't stop. So I applied this to my son. So my son is now 11 years old. He's one of the smartest kids you will meet. And even if he goes to a messed up school, he knows more than the teacher. So nothing can stop him from learning. He is a sponge. So for example, when my son was 7 years old, we were sitting with him for dinner, and we had a guest over, and this guest made a comment and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Hope I didn't offend anyone. Didn't mean to be so sarcastic." And he laughed, and we all laughed. And my son, who was eating a spaghetti, looked up and goes, "Actually, that was not sarcasm. That would be verbal irony. Sarcasm is verbal irony with intonation." And everybody looked at my son, and they were like, "What the hell?" But I was proud of Hayden. That's how he thinks. So the first step is you mold a child's brain before the age of 6 to give them a brain that's powerful. Now, there's a belief here that if you do that, you create these reclusive, eccentric geniuses. That's bullshit. Your kids can be fully functioning adults with great empathy and compassion, but with an advanced brain, they can absorb information faster, and this gives them an edge in life. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, when we get people to primary school, the government and the way we raise adults has to flip the way we think of education. Problem with education right now is we take the world's best teachers, and even if you're an extraordinary English teacher or an extraordinary geography teacher, you put these people in a classroom where at most they can influence 100 children a year. That's a shame. My mother was the best public school English teacher in Malaysia. She was legendary, but she could only touch the lives of 100 students a year. Whereas in other parts of Malaysia, there were shortages of English teachers, and therefore people who barely spoke English were teaching these kids. Now, in an era of technology, when the price of tablets and laptops are going to drop to $10, we got to change the way we educate. So I'm working on a new system where nations basically can scale teaching, and the best teachers in a country, they become superstars. We create content with them on English, on geography, on history, on math. Now remember, these things are not bad. It's the way you teach them. And then we deploy this content in classrooms all across the country. You only need 1 or 2 superstar English teachers, 1 or 2 superstar geography teachers, high quality production, and the other people in that classroom are facilitators. And every student is learning with other students, but looking at an incredible teacher on a screen with facilitators then giving them the assignments and the group work that they do.
Right.
And in this type of school, with this type of school, you get the basics that colleges need taken care of, the math, the history, all of that stuff. But you can accelerate the rate of deploying that in a child and do it in maybe 2 hours a day as opposed to 7 hours a day. And what do you do in that extra time? You teach the child transformation. You teach the child entrepreneurship, public speaking, mindfulness, compassion, kindness, gratitude, all of the skills which science is showing have a huge correlation with human happiness. One skill alone, gratitude, right? Gratitude has been studied, and it's shown to be the single greatest character trait that leads to human well-being. How many classrooms start their day with having their kids practice gratitude? So all of this can be re-engineered. Now, another big problem that's happening in the world today is big food companies are brainwashing us. So I was just watching a video on YouTube. Actually, my son was watching this video this morning. It was on Coca-Cola. A guy did an experiment to see what would happen if he drank 3 cans of Coca-Cola a day. Now, that's actually quite normal for many Americans, many people in Brazil, many people in Egypt. Coke has created this false idea in the world that they stand for positivity. No, they stand for diabetes and fucking your health. So what happened to this guy who drank 3 cans of Coke a day? Well, he gained 10 pounds. He had to start taking 5 naps a day. He was working from home, had to start taking 5 naps a day. He lost his interest in exercise because it just seemed so difficult because his energy levels had dipped. Now, here's the scary thing, right? Some people will listen to that and go, well, I'm not drinking 3 cans of Coke a day. I'm on Diet Coke. Diet Coke has now come out, and science has shown that it's worse because it destroys the health of your gut microbiome, which is an essential component of our biological functioning. Nations, children, people don't get this. And so companies like Coke, like Kellogg's, like Nestle are poisoning the human race. And so the next part of education is health education. I launched a campaign against Nestle in Malaysia because they were blatantly lying to the public and forcing moms and dads, seducing moms and dads to giving their children sugar-ridden Milo. It's a horrible drink that they market as a health drink. It's basically like drinking a dissolved chocolate bar twice a day, filled with sugar. And Malaysia is now the fattest country in Asia. Not surprisingly, Nestle is the biggest company on the Malaysian Stock Exchange. Wow. I want to flip that switch. I want to be the biggest company in the Malaysian Stock Exchange because we actually stand for health. And we want to educate Malaysians at the government level, at the school level, at the corporate level to know what to put in their bodies because we are poisoning ourselves and not realizing it. So as you can see, there's a whole level of wisdom, of education that we can build onto just secondary schooling. Now, the same thing applies to primary schooling, secondary schooling, K1 to K12, depending on what nation you're in and what you call it. In Malaysia, sorry, I keep using the words primary and secondary. That's the British system. That's what we call it here. Now, when we come to universities, you can flip that too. Mindvalley University is not based on the idea of putting someone in a 4-year bubble. Our university is 1 month every year for the rest of your life. I want you to just think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
4-year models are awful. What can a child who's 19 learn, and you're still a child when you're 19, learn from other 19-year-olds? At Mindvalley University, the age range goes from 6 to the oldest student was 83. People are learning together. They're going for a graduation party together. And it's 1 month every year for the rest of your life.
And you're continuing to learn. What you're saying is also it's continuing to learn, because how many times
you're continuing to learn.
Somebody goes to university and says, I got my education. Well, yeah, your education is actually obsolete before you even finish.
Exactly, exactly. So we are flipping the switch on 4-year colleges. I do not believe they are necessary anymore, but I do respect that for many occupations, you do want to go there. And honestly, my son wants to go to 4-year college, but he's not going there because he's under any illusion that it's going to get him a job. He's going there, and I'm encouraging him to go because it's a great way to discover the world, you know, to meet friends, to date, to explore yourself. College does serve that. And so Mindvalley University happens in the summer so that people who still want to go to college can still attend. And it happens in the summer, and actually 70% of the people who come are adults. And that brings us to the other big idea here. Schooling systems. I was just talking to members of the Malaysian government on this. Schooling systems are what governments look at. And governments somehow assume that you got to stop educating your people at 22. Nonsense. You have to educate your population for life. And so I'm now developing models where the top CEOs in the country, the top experts in the country can come together for mastermind groups, can up-level in terms of their transformation. It's amazing how many CEOs who are some of the most influential people in the country have bad health, bad relationships, are feeling lonely. In America alone, 50% of CEOs report loneliness. So we're now developing models to train and up-level the leaders of a country and then trickle this down to their employees. That is how we're getting to 1 billion lives. I'm looking at global reform, 100 nations, 100 schooling systems at least over the next 20 years. What we are seeking to do with Mindvalley is up-level the very consciousness of the human race in all areas in which human beings come together. Work, education, ourself, the spaces between ourselves, our relationships, our spirituality. We're working on upgrading universal religion as well. Citizenry, so we don't fall prey to men like Trump or Nigel Farage and shoot ourselves in the foot by blindly following nationalism. And finally, ecology, so we can save the planet and ensure that our children inherit an earth that's healthier and greener than what we have now. So that's what we're working on.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, when you talk about even the workplace, I'm curious, as you were explaining that, I was thinking about the evolution of the business world and of the workplace, because that will change as well. So what are your thoughts on that? You know, like these big corporations, like the massive corporations that employ all these people. Now you've got people that are changing the way they're thinking. How is that going to apply?
Mm-hmm. So, Mindvalley is already training people in companies such as Google, just got asked to train at Microsoft, Facebook. And so a lot of the world's top companies are now embracing these ideas, and I'm going in and I'm developing models for many companies. It typically starts at the departmental level, and then it spreads from there. Next year, my book is coming out. It's called Superhumans at Work. And what I'm outlining in this book is a new vision for how to upgrade work at a fundamental level. But part of that upgrade, and this is the part that some people are going to think is controversial, but I frickin' swear it's going to be commonplace within 5 years. Part of that upgrade is recognizing that human beings, are not mere physical machines. We have a soul and we have an energy body. And there are spiritual philosophies that we can apply in work to maximize our impact. One of the reasons Mindvalley, with just 300 people and no VC money, is able to have the impact we do is because everyone who works at Mindvalley is a freaking spiritual warrior. We work not just at the physical level, but at the energetic level. Going to be teaching this to other companies and governments and politicians and CEOs. That's coming. And it's going to be a fucking massive upgrade of humanity. So excited about that. Now, the second thing is that work is not meant to be something that extracts from you. You are not meant to see your health go down or your happiness go down in exchange for earning a decent wage. We can design work so that work actually liberates you, gives you more positive emotions, heals you, and makes you healthier. So when you go home with your kids, you are a better person because you are in that work environment. That's number two. Mm-hmm. And the third thing is that work has to give people the same sense of community and belonging that organized religion used to, right? So what this means is that there's this false idea in the world that we have to separate our work life and our private life. Not true. I believe that people should fall in love at work. They should have best friends at work. They should be able to hug their CEO. They should be able to feel deeply connected at work. These are all models that we're introducing. Now, the good thing about good things is that they spread. So a lot of what we do is spreading very fast through word of mouth.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. I mean, just even listening to you describe it, you know, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. I mean, the thing is, you spend so much time in the workplace. Why would you not enjoy it? And why would it not be your family? And why would it, you know, it doesn't make sense. And there's such a disconnect, and there's so much dissatisfaction in the workplace right now, and so much underutilization. You know, I had this thought many years ago where I thought, my goodness, can you just imagine if every single person on the planet just played to their strengths, used the strengths, the talents that they had, and applied it. Now, if you add on to that, what you're talking about is the rapid accelerated learning that would, you know, that would go on top of that. Nothing is impossible.
Right.
It's amazing.
And even for adults, right? Like even for adults, you can create rapid accelerated learning.
Yes.
If so our program is called Super Brain. That's one of the programs on Mindvalley Quest by Jim Quick. In 30 days, people literally upgrade their brain. And it's our most popular program. It's blowing up like crazy. I honestly believe it's the #1 learning program on the face of planet Earth right now. And so by stacking all of these together, we're able to create superhumans. And that's really why my book is called Superhumans at Work. Imagine being able to double your learning speed. Imagine being able to tap into core elements of yourself so you can listen to your intuition better and thus create more creativity. Imagine being able to deal with overwhelm and to multitask powerfully because your spiritual energy is multiplying what your physical ability is capable of doing. Imagine being able to create win-win relationships with everyone around you. So literally you have no grudges, you have no ill will towards anyone. Your heart is compassionate. And even when the occasional asshole pops into your existence, you're able to see them for what they are, a human being who could use some help. And that is really just some of the things that we're looking at. I'm fascinated by who we are. I think human beings are one of the most beautiful things that has ever emerged from the Big Bang. Yet, we so forget this. And we so forget that we are connected right now in a way that is so dramatic. So humanity has never been disconnected. You and I'm in a freaking Malaysian parking lot outside of Starbucks, and you are where right now?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
And just the fact that we can talk is a miracle. It would be magical to our grandparents' generation, right? If they had seen this when they were 20. But we don't think like that. And so many elements of human society still operate from past paradigms. So these are the 7 things that we have to upgrade, right? We have to upgrade the way we work, upgrade our education system, upgrade our understanding of the power we have within, upgrade the connection between us. We have to upgrade parenting, upgrade marriage, upgrade all of the other unions of humans. We have to upgrade our spirituality. Religion, I believe, has a lot of beauty, but it sometimes gets infected with some outdated ideas. For example, one of the things I am going to help do, because it is the right thing to do, is to help ensure that in all the countries which are more religious that Mindvalley goes into, we help activate an understanding that LGBT people are not wrong. That's a controversial thing for me to say, even here in Malaysia. But right. But we are doing that with love.
It would practically get you stoned in some countries.
And more religious people are seeing it as well, and that's so beautiful to see. Now the 6th thing we got to upgrade is citizenry. We have to teach people that they do not belong to nations. And any politician that says we have to build a wall or it's us versus them is not a true leader. True leaders support unity. So we teach people that, yes, love your country, but understand that you are part of a wider circle called the human race. And the leaders you want to choose are leaders which are going to be peacemakers, leaders who are going to support refugees, leaders who are going to talk about bridging between nations and not building walls. Yes. And the 7th one is ecological awareness. How can we move people towards things such as plant-based protein? How can we, a million species of plants and animals are about to go extinct in our generation. How do we avoid that? Because we have to train people to think like the Native Americans espoused multiple generations down. So that we call that ecological awareness. Now, there are 7 different elements of human society that we want to upgrade. The problem with education is that it doesn't teach people to think like that. It teaches people to become a better cog in the wheels of industry, in the wheels of capitalism. Capitalism is the best system we have. I fucking love capitalism. But Terence McKenna also said, capitalism is a loaded gun pointed at the head of humanity. There must be better ways where we can still be happy, we can still be wealthier, we can still live in abundance while not fucking up the planet for our children's children's children. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Well, so you've got the young generation, and you said you have people from all ages. What do you think is we talk about the cog in the wheel, obviously, in the education system, the way people are educated, but you've got a mature, older generation. What stops them potentially from being part of this new evolution?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. The majority of people on Mindvalley right now are adults with an average age of 40.
Interesting. Yeah.
right?
Because you
So
hear it a lot of times, you know,
transformation
it's like
can,
the old dog, you can't teach the old dog new tricks. I
no,
talk to
that's not true.
60-year-olds,
That's because you have a
70-year-olds.
lousy trainer. Of course, you
Exactly.
can teach an old dog new tricks. You just
Yes.
need a good trainer. That's what we try
And
to
you
do
got to have
by
a desire.
merging storytelling, filmmaking, technology, great teaching, community. So there are 5 ways, right? There are 5 ways you teach an old dog new tricks, or five ways you accelerate transformation in an individual. So let me just share that, because if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, if you understand these 5 ways, you can do a better job for your students. The first is super simple to understand. The first is learning, right? Learning and listening. It's watching videos, it's reading a book, basic. Everybody gets this. But the second one is critical reflection. Critical reflection means you reflect upon what you learn. Journaling, contemplative practices. These are all forms of critical reflection. I journal every single day, right? So critical reflection is one of the most powerful tools. The third is community, and that means you learn with others. Every Mindvalley program is rooted in community. You learn, and then you go and you discuss it in an online group, or you learn in a class in the real world with people. We learn tremendously from each other. The fourth is rate of application. So we design a program so you learn and you apply. You learn and you apply. By applying instantly and not hesitating or overthinking, you lock that in. And so if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, if you're running a workshop, you want to get people to apply. If you have an online program, get them to apply immediately. Our programs are not 8-hour programs. They are 20 minutes a day for 30 days, because you learn and you apply. You learn and you apply. You learn and you apply. After 30 days, you've experienced an identity shift because of that rapid rate of application. Now, the fifth one is the most interesting: altered states. It's why people have huge transformations when they try certain forms of neurotraining or meditation or pharmacology, right? For example, you've heard about people doing ayahuasca and suddenly seeing their minds expand and seeing the world thereafter in a different way. That's tapping into altered states. It's like tapping into a part of ourselves that is deep within that we forgot, and emerging from that part with greater wisdom. Meditation is the best form of altered state training.
Mm. Fascinating. Oh my gosh, Vishen, this is one of those ones you got to listen to again and again and apply. Well, you talk about it's all about the application,
Right?
But there's so much value here. Thank you so much for sharing. And you know, you've got your book, your new book. You also have the Code of the Extraordinary Mind, which I alluded to in your initially in the bio, and all of this can be found, and your university can be found at mindvalley.com. I know you also have a wonderful free gift. Speaking of meditation, you have a wonderful free gift. The download is 6-phase meditation. Talk about that. Yeah.
So 6-phase meditation is an updated form of meditation I designed for the world, and I made it free. So it's been written about in Billboard magazine and Ebony magazine. A lot of celebrities use it. And 6-phase meditation, you can get it free. Just go to mindvalley.com/learn-meditation.
Okay.
And
we'll make sure this is all in the notes as well.
Yeah. And also, if you follow me on Instagram, I do a lot of my writing. I share a lot of ideas on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I don't believe in like motivational quotes and stuff. It's high-level personal growth ideas. So that's something I'd recommend as well. I share a lot of the latest ideas on Instagram. And if you enjoyed this podcast, Instagram is a good way to stay in touch and see the rapid rate of innovation of these ideas and how they're being deployed across the world.
Brilliant. Vishen, thank you so very much for spending a few minutes today just sharing with us your vision, what you're doing, but also the vision that what you have for the future. It is exciting.
Thank you.
And I know there's a lot of the listeners, and myself included, that are excited to be part of that. So we just thank you. And I think together we will create a greater impact. We're going to change the world. So it's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you also to our listeners and our viewers out there. You know what? There's so much here. I would recommend you go back and listen to it again. Take notes. If you're driving, go back and take notes. But not just notes to put away in a notebook somewhere and say, oh, that was interesting. But taking notes to say, okay, how can I apply this and just start shifting your mindset about what is possible for you, what is possible for your family, your children, and the world around you. I highly encourage you that, because I do believe that leaders of transformation take action. They apply what they learn, because that's where the transformation happens. We appreciate you being here. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode really soon. And if you like this, go on iTunes, leave us a rating and review. That allows us, we've got listeners in over 100 countries, allows us to have a greater reach and make a greater impact through this podcast. So we thank you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Leaders of Transformation real soon.